So, hey everyone, welcome to the Sovryn Community Call, episode number 40. Today is May 5th, 2022. This is Englandia, head of ecosystem growth with Sovryn, the place to be for your Bitcoin DeFi needs. And we've got some awesome news to share with you all, including new DAOs and circles, furthering the decentralization of our protocol, and the launch of limit orders. If you know someone from a project that could benefit from collaborating with us, feel free to DM me on Twitter or Discord at Englandia. They could be, for example, crypto mobile apps, payment platforms, thought leaders, layer one ecosystems, fund managers, etc. Send me a DM about them with a website and some context, and I'll see if there's a possible way we can collaborate so you know where to find me. Thanks for helping out. And thank you for joining us here and sharing in our mission. So the guidelines are, if you're here for the first time, if you'd like to speak, just toggle the mute button and be patient and we'll get to you. And also note that we periodically pause for any questions you might have. And so before we go through the agenda, is there anyone here brave enough to introduce themselves and just give a warm hello? Now, I know for the last couple calls, you guys have been pretty shy, and I'm hoping that this time maybe someone could be brave enough to just say, hey, what's up? This is my name. This is who I am. Grateful to be here.
Before no one gets debriefed, TM here or Tom F from Telegram. Happy to meet you guys.
Hey. Nice to meet you, Tom.
Hey.
Congrats on being the first to introduce yourself in, I think, several weeks now. I think you deserve a reward. So let's kick it off with Yago.
Hey, guys. So a lot has happened over the last 2 weeks. I'll start with some things which... so on the technical side, you'll hear a bunch of updates. We introduced this week a huge bundle of feature upgrades and improvements, perhaps the crown jewel of which was the introduction of limit orders to our spot trading. With limit orders, Sovryn is continuing to increase the gap between it and all other decentralized leverage trading protocols. I don't think that there's any other protocol that offers this kind of functionality, which includes Lightning Network integration, decentralization, native Bitcoin trading, the kind of interface and UI that we offer, and limit orders. The gap between what Sovryn is offering and all other projects is just growing. So you'll hear a little bit more about that going forward. In addition to that, the Treasury report was released and is available in the forum for everyone to see. And then there have been a number of... Actually, before I get into those, and then also on the forum and in the blog post, you'll be able to find some information that we were able to disclose around covert operations that Sovryn has undertaken, which I think are very serious and important. So yesterday we had a Spaces with Breedlove. One of the core things that it focused around was the fact that Bitcoin and the internet and encrypted communications provide massive powers to individuals and represent hugely empowering technologies, allowing individuals to defend themselves and change the calculus of violence and power in the world. But at the same time, we continue to see other types of technologies being introduced, which have very, very powerful centralizing impacts. Server farms, AI, and most importantly, surveillance. And we continue to see very significant risks posed to people, including ourselves, around the world by all kinds of organizations, and most importantly by the most dangerous organizations of them all, which are governments. there's a blog post which I recommend you guys check out, an interview with one of our contributors from Venezuela. And then the second blog post which I recommend is the blog post introducing the work that part of the Sovryn community undertook to help people, to help sovereigns who are at risk in Ukraine find their way to safety, as well as the introduction of the B team. B team being our sort of special operations task force for situations like this, with the recognition that we need, as sovereigns, to stick together, to have the ability to assist each other and to form an alliance when necessary. And B team can provide that not just to the Sovryn community, but to the Bitcoin community and the sovereign individual community more generally. And so this brings me to the broad set of other things which have occurred over the last 2 weeks, which I think are extremely important in terms of increasing the organizational capacity and the censorship resistance of Sovryn as a protocol and as a community. 2 SIPs have been introduced, SIP 46 and SIP 47, again, available in the forum, and I think John Black will discuss them a little bit more. But what they are about is further decentralizing the way that the protocol is managed, and in particular introducing a higher degree of censorship resistance and unstoppability to the protocol. So that's extremely important, 2 very important SIPs, and perhaps one of the last major milestones towards us moving out of alpha. Then today we will have a presentation from the Whispers DAO. So a few weeks ago we introduced the ability to work with Factory DAO to create sub-DAOs or topic-specific DAOs. Whispers DAO is important in 2 ways. First of all, or 3 ways. First of all, it's a representation of that kind of tooling to allow the community to self-organize and take on responsibilities beyond just core. Second, it represents an additional step as part of Operation Champion in terms of allowing the Sovryn community to start championing Sovryn with greater organizational capacity. And third, it's an important step for us as a community. There's a major problem of toxicity in crypto in general, and the Whispers DAO is primarily people who have come to be part of Sovryn from the BCW community. And I think the fact that the Whisper DAO exists and will continue to contribute and is looking to contribute to Sovryn is an extremely powerful message and symbol of the fact that we as a community remain united, can heal divisions when they arise, and continue to move forward together. And then finally, there's the Circle of Tokens, which is the first circle. So for those of you who don't know, Sovryn organizes itself into teams which are called circles. So for example, we have the Circle of Chaos, which is focused primarily on research and development, or the Circle of Light, which is focused primarily on interfaces and user experience, or the Circle of Guidance, which is focused primarily on sort of community management and assisting new users. Circle of Tokens is the first circle to be created outside of core, and I would expect not the last. And Circle of Tokens is already taking upon itself extremely important role. Its goal is going to be, and has already been, analyzing the economics and tokenomics of the system, putting together recommendations about how we can modify or change or enhance tokenomics. So looking at things like liquidity mining, token emissions. These are core things, and I think the fact that they're being managed to a great extent outside of the core team is extremely powerful. And so I think Sacro here is on the call with us. He has been nominated to be the interim lead of this circle. Sacro, would you like to speak briefly and explain what you guys are doing?
Hello everyone. This is Sacro. I hope you can hear me. Initially we had the tokenomics task force that Yago proposed in the forum, and there were also already some sovereigns who were very interested in changes to the tokenomics. And basically we had a kickoff call for this task force, and during this call we also talked about institutionalizing this in form of a circle, and that is what happened. And I created 2 forum posts already, and we have also created a small group in Discord where we organize ourselves, and make sure to read the forum posts so that you are up to date and you can expect to hear more from us soon. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Sacro. So definitely, if this is the kind of thing that interests you, take a look at that blog post, that forum post as well. But I think you look at all of this. So first, there's a huge amount of technical work that has continued to happen with limit orders and the bundle of improvements that was released. But I think one of the key things that we've been talking about is organizational capacity. And that obviously is going to impact our ability to make the system more permissionless, easier to get involved with as community members, and more censorship resistant. And between SIP 46, SIP 47, the Treasury Report, the B Team, Whispers DAO, Circle of Tokens, this last 2-week period has been an extremely important junction in terms of the maturity and growth of Sovryn as a community, as a protocol, and as an institution. I'm very, very excited about the stuff that's happening, and I think already we are well ahead of the game in terms of where I expected we would be, and I think this is only just the beginning. So that's it for me.
Thanks a lot, Yago. Remember, everyone, if you're not speaking, please keep yourself muted. I would hate to mute you because you can no longer unmute yourself if I have to do it. Also, if you have a question and would rather text it than voice it, you can post it in the general chat. So there's that option for you as well. Now let's see, we have next, product and governance with Light. Light, are you there?
Yep. Hi. So I will defer most of the product updates to Ororo as part of her regular development updates. We've got a bunch of great stuff to share there. I will just touch on a couple of governance-related topics. As Yago mentioned, we have a couple of SIPs that I introduced around the same time as the last community meeting. I just want to remind folks to check out SIP 46 and SIP 47 when you get a chance. These are part of a package of SIPs that I'm referring to as like Bitocracy 3.0. It's the next iteration of Bitocracy, where SOV stakers are the governors of the sovereign protocol, transferring governance powers from the Exchequer multisig that is currently owning or administering many of the smart contracts, transferring all of those governance powers to Bitocracy and the SOV stakers. Would be great to get your feedback if you have any on those SIPs, so please go ahead and check those out. There are also some other SIPs that have been introduced by the GIMP as part of the GIMP's big package, and of SIPs related to tokenomics and some of the other related discussions that came up in the community. And then I also want to draw attention to the 2021 financial report that Armando shared a link to in the Sovryn Forum in advance of an upcoming 2022 and 2023 budget SIP that he'll be introducing on behalf of the Exchequer Committee. And all of those SIPs, the discussion around those SIPs, as well as the financial report, can be found in the forum. So forum.sovryn.app, definitely check that out and get involved in the discussion. We welcome and greatly encourage community participation in sovereign governance. That's all that I wanted to cover today. I'm happy to take any questions. And if there are no questions, then I'll hand it off to Ororo to go into the development updates.
Would anyone like to pose a question regarding these two SIPs? I guess we're all in consensus then. So let's pass it on to Ororo.
Hey, thanks. Sure. So a lot happened the last 2 weeks. I think the most noticeable event, like Yago already mentioned, was the trading update, which also introduced the limit orders for spot orders. So if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. It also came with a few other improvements to the trading system, such as a notification service. So now you can also get notified when you're getting closer to your liquidations and when limit orders get filled and other activities. There are a few updates in the pipeline. So one of them is the limit orders for margin trades, but then also further improvements to the trading and borrowing interface, or above all the borrowing interface, because currently it's still not possible to add collateral to your open loan, something which is important, especially if prices are dropping like right now. So this one is going to come, and with it there are a number of small quality of life improvements which will then be deployed alongside the collateral to your borrowed position release. We're also preparing the transfer of the contract ownership to the governance, as well as a bridge update to save gas costs. I told you before that there are different works in the process. First step is to reduce the number of transactions which need to be sent by the bridge by having the signature exchange of the federators off-chain, and then only have one single transaction for each transfer instead of 3. And the next one is already in progress, which is the introduction of dynamic gas fees, and both of them should allow us to lower the fees on the bridges. Then we are still working on preparing the zero beta, as well as the perp swaps. Apart from that, we found the fast BTC issue, which we were reporting about last time. Like, you might remember that about 3 or 4 weeks ago we had this outage. And on the last community call, I told you that we are still looking for the reason, but by now we found it gladly. So this should not happen again, at least not because of that reason. And we are now focused again on the reclaiming feature, which allows you, in case of a future outage, which you would not hope to happen, but in case it happens, then you would at least be able to reclaim your funds and do not have to wait for us to fix it. Then there is SDK work going on, starting with the Zero SDK for easy third-party integrations. We're working on the liquidity mining update, which also contains a refactoring of the reward claiming, which I know is long awaited. We've also finally started the integration of the graph with the front end, and there the first big piece is the candlestick data for the charts. And then there's a couple of different improvements on the front end, especially to the cross-chain flow, to the portfolio, to the dep header menus. So the other development started, but it is going to take some longer, so you cannot expect it now in the next few weeks, but this will be a longer process. And as a last piece, we're working on an intercom integration. I think that's a rough overview of all of the different with the limit order testing. Like, help from the community when it comes to testing our products before we push them out is just very, very, very helpful. Before I close my update, I just want to remind you that we have open positions, and we are not just looking still for front-end developers, but also for smart contract auditors. So we have a role to fill. So if you are a smart contract auditor or you know one, please check the wiki and send the CVs to talent@sovryn.app. That would be awesome. And that's it from my side. Thank you.
And just to clarify, we want full-time in-house auditors. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thanks, Ororo. Do we have any questions for her? Okay, all right. So let's move on to, I have notes from Vasily.
So we just today, we got the audit from Hacken on perpetual smart contracts. And we got the top-notch rating of 9.8 out of 10. So we will be launching with audited contracts. Then we are making progress on limit and stop limit orders. We are currently testing that in the front end on BSC testnet. And we are also steadily working to get ready for the mainnet deployment on all sides. For instance, we are now currently looking at improving the deployment scripts so that we could, for instance, quickly deploy a new perpetual. And that's it from the perpetual side.
Cool. And if anyone here happens to have any strong contacts on the business development side for Binance, please get at me. I think there could be some opportunities between both of us. And I'll continue with some business development updates. So if you guys have heard of multi-chain, it's basically a cross-chain router protocol that has integrated with over 40 chains and has about 6 billion in total value locked. You can swap assets from all these different chains, and they had recently started integrating RSK. So this could be an opportunity for us to sort of devote matters regarding cross-chain swapping to an external partner. So this could be big for us. In addition, we have begun initial development of a TypeScript SDK and Solidity SDK for the Zero protocol, and are speaking closely with potential partners on how to refine this for an easy and seamless integration with the popular mobile finance and crypto apps that we know today.
John DiPonte from the Sovryn Whispers DAO has joined us, and I think he'd be interested in presenting what they've been doing and plan on doing.
Cool. John DiPonte, please take the floor.
Hi, guys. Yeah, cool. Yago, thanks for the reminder. Just been dealing with some other stuff here anyway. So just to give you a brief update where we're at, we've created a DAO. We've had our first vote. We've had a second vote. And we've even gone as far as, establishing NFTs, and we've had great support from, I can't remember their names. I'll tell you now. Yago, maybe you can...
You're referring to the Factory DAO team?
The guys who built it all.
Factory DAO.
Yeah. So they're fantastic, and I believe they're doing more work with you on other things. So basically, we've got this DAO going. I must be honest, I must pick up with the other guys that sort of petered off a bit. I know we're waiting for budget. The guys have a plan what to do, and we did our second vote on the plan where we were going to have an informal. There's a website called Sovryns.com that's been built, not quite finished, and it's a very unofficial sort of sovereign supporters thing. And then the idea was with the budget that we were going to spend it on Telegram advertising to targeting crypto people. That's the long and short of it. But I believe the next move is just to get authorization from Sovryn themselves, read the budget, the allocation, and then once that's happened, then we can sort of finish up with a few things, and then we can start advertising it and pushing people to the website, which will then indirectly push people to the Sovryn website. So you guys can go have a look, Sovryns.com.
That's Sovryns with an S at the end. So
with an S at the end.com. Yeah, it's a very sort of unofficial supporters club thing. That's just, you guys can have a look and comment. But I mean, the amount of work the guys have put in, it's amazing. It's unbelievable. And it's ready basically just to press the button. I know there has been politics, and I was on the forum the other day reading a post. I must be honest, it's my side personally, I've just been busy with normal day-to-day stuff. But so I haven't really seen what the banter has been. But I mean, I think we can all move on, and those that are in will be in, and we just do what we got to do, because at the end of the day, guys want to chip out, that's fine, but we all want to build value. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Any questions just far away?
Is it possible for other community members, or are you guys looking for other community members to join you? And if so, sort of, with what kind of skill sets are you looking for?
So I'm not sure about, because obviously the Sovryn Whispers thing's a JV with Blockchain Whispers, and it's been kept in-house. So I guess to be part of it and the way we've sort of set it up, I don't know. I'd have to just get the sentiment of everyone. If outsiders of blockchain can get involved, I don't know. I suppose if we pitch it, it shouldn't be a problem, and it's just done the right way. But I don't want to speak on behalf of others without knowing what the consensus is. So I can find that out and report back to you guys. With regards to skill sets, I think most of it's been done. It's just now a matter of actioning it, and we can't action much without the budget, because all the stuff that's been done has just been done, free will. The website being built by guys have come up with a plan on this, and it's all just been done non grata, because they just believe in Sob.
And I think you guys have a Discord. It might be a good idea for you guys to publish the website and the Discord to the forum, so that if other people are interested in seeing what you guys are doing or getting involved, they can.
Absolutely. So yeah, we definitely got a Discord, but again, Yago, let me just find out from from the internal community if they're happy to do that, where everyone's at, because I know there has been a bit of politics and where everyone is, I don't know, but I will, in the next week, I will dedicate a couple of hours and then trace up with everyone and what have you, and then, I don't know, when have we got another community call? 2 weeks' time?
Yep. All right, so maybe back to you, Inga.
All right. Well, this is it for updates, I think. If we don't have any questions from the audience, we might very well just end this community call a bit early.
We do have a question from John M on YouTube. He says, question, is Zero still on track for Q3 release?
Yago, would you like to take that?
The answer is yes.
Short and sweet.
John, is there anything else you would like to add to that?
Nope. I think that, the answer to the question is yes.
Okay, awesome.
Just for clarification, what will be like the first actions that users will be able to take with the Zero protocol? Is it just the taking out the loan? Will there be, like, what pools could they deposit? Like, will it be compatible with XUSD?
So the initial functionality is going to be interacting with, or rather creating a line of credit, adjusting a line of credit. So basically drawing more debt or paying down your existing debt. And then depositing ZUSD into the stability pool and redeeming ZUSD for RBTC, and liquidating underwater, or not underwater, but under collateralized lines of credit. So almost all of the same functionality as the original Liquidity protocol that Zero was forked from. And then I think it's been discussed already that 100% of the fees generated by the protocol, borrowing fees and redemption fees, will be going to SOV stakers. And then the ZUSD will initially get most of its utility from XUSD. So the ZUSD, we are going to be introducing a proposal to the Babelfish community to add ZUSD to the XUSD aggregator. And if the Babelfish community approves that proposal, then you will be able to use your ZUSD through XUSD to get access to all of the liquidity pools that have currently been built out for XUSD, including the AMM pools, the lending pools, margin trading, etc. So that's how we initially see ZUSD getting utility. And then as time goes on, we'll build out the Sovereign Mint protocol, which will basically wrap up ZUSD into the Sovereign Mint stablecoin. And then we'll build out the liquidity sources for the Sovereign Mint stablecoin. So, trading pools, lending pools, fiat on off ramps, etc. And the long-term plan is that the Bitcoin-backed stablecoin becomes the main or dominant stablecoin in the protocol, so that we can be a Bitcoin-centric ecosystem, and we're not relying as much on the fiat coins.
Much appreciated, Light. Thanks for the in-depth answer. We've got another question. How is the process with the VC deal going? I think we mentioned earlier that we are undergoing another round with some strategic partners, and you guys will know about it when there is a proposal on the forum put together. I don't know if you want to add anything more to that, Yago, but I think that's more or less it.
I have nothing to add at this point.
Okay. Someone asked for a Dropper update. I pinged Michael Parenti from Dropper to see if he can hop in real quick. I don't know that he'll respond in time, but just want you to know, Debo, that I did hit him up. But yeah, you're welcome to hit them up on their channels and get some of the latest Dropper news. So Floopy Disc asks, I've read that Babelfish is doing a UI update. Will that be coordinated with the Sovryn UI update? My guess is I don't know that they are coordinated in tandem, though. Babelfish is a very close partner, and we're separate teams.
I have a follow-up question on Zero. Are there any plans are there any plans to add the SUV token to the Zero protocol so that you can take a loan against your SUV?
John, would you like to respond?
Could you please repeat the question? Sorry.
The question was, are there plans to allow for loans collateralized with SOV rather than BTC?
Oh, I don't think anything has been publicly mentioned about it. So I don't know if I can say.
Well, I think there is a plan to do that, and there'll be further announcements about that coming forward.
Cool, thanks.
Sakro, since you asked that question, what do you think of that potential feature?
It's a difficult question, I think. It might be really interesting, but I think there are also a lot of dangers involved with it. So my question was targeted at, well, let's say, so I don't mean to spread any FUD here or anything. I just thought it through because of our tokenomics circle or of the circle of tokens, and if there, so we did some on-chain analysis, and there are currently large holders, and most of them are holding SUV. But there is a lot of liquid SUV that you can see on-chain. And let's say some of these guys wanted to sell some SUV. They could potentially crash the market. And if they could use the Zero protocol and to take a loan against their SUV instead of BTC, I think it would be a huge risk for the protocol, for the Zero protocol. That was why I asked this question. And I mean, it would be really cool if we could all use SUV and take a loan against our SUV. It would be amazing to do that. But I think there would have a lot of more security measurements than compared to a BTC loan that is collateralized at 110%.
Sakura, just so I understand what you're saying, you said that the people who have a liquid SOV, they could choose to sell their SOV or they could choose to take a loan. And I understood you saying that was a potential risk, although it seems like it would be the opposite. So that it would provide an avenue where people who potentially would sell because they need the liquidity would have an avenue to maintain their SOV positions and have liquidity nonetheless.
Well, what I thought is, let's say you have a very big SUV position and you are not able to sell it onto the market because you would sell at a loss because it would crash the price. So a significant amount of SUV, like high 6-digit or 7-digit amount of SUV. But what you can do is if you potentially use Zero and take a 110% loan against your SUV, you get a lot of ZUSD, and you could convert that into BTC and run away. And the protocol would hold all the SUV, whereas the whale could just put all the ZUSD into BTC, go away, and that there is a risk that the Zero protocol could lose its peg, if I understand the protocol correctly.
Yeah, I think you pointed that out nicely, because these are the two things. Like on the good side, we have the option to get liquidity without selling it, so it would reduce the sell pressure and therefore probably be very beneficial to the token price. At least I think so. Whereas on the other side, there's the risk what happens if the SOV price would drop and the positions cannot be liquidated. So what we would need to do, of course, is make sure that SOV collateral has to be, like the collateralization ratio would need to be much, much, much higher. Also on the lending pools, we already have different limits. On our lending pools, you need to have 150% collateralization for if you're depositing Bitcoin or XUSD, but you need to maintain, or you need to start with at least with 300% collateral if you are using SOV. And we have to take similar precaution when it comes to SOV for zero, and potentially even ask for higher collateralization ratio than that one to reduce the risk of that happening. But still then, you're very right that this is a risk we need to weigh very carefully before we launch such a product. And also I want to mention that if we would do that, it would be a separate protocol, so it would not drain the BTC zero protocol, but it would be a separate one, most likely.
Thank you. Yes, that was exactly my thought. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Ororo. Thank you. It could be very interesting to do it with SUV, nevertheless. Yeah.
So just to clarify, this potential SOV-backed stablecoin would not fall under Mint, Sovryn Mint stablecoin, would it?
No, of course not. So the Sovryn Mint is an aggregation only of Bitcoin collateral, and Bitcoin collateral is pristine and will always be maintained separate from all other forms of collateral for that purpose.
All right, so when Zero Protocol launches with its Bitcoin-backed stablecoin, will it be a different asset than the Sovryn Mint day one?
If an SOV or any other asset is added to Zero, then yes. So what you would effectively be ending, you know how ZUSD sort of is the intermediary token. So you can use ZUSD to, you can get XUSD, or you can get the Bitcoin dollar. So Mint generates the sovereign Bitcoin dollar, and then we have XUSD, which also allows you to convert into DAI or USDC or other types of stablecoins. So we do not anticipate that ZUSD itself acts as a currency. It acts as an intermediary token, a way of basically transferring the value that you have in collateral from Zero to some kind of stablecoin and getting that stablecoin. The same thing would happen with SOV, but it wouldn't be with ZUSD because it's a different collateral pool. So there would be a different intermediary token. You would never be able to get, at least, you'd never be able to convert it into a sovereign dollar from the Mint, but you'd be able to trade it for sovereign dollars by going through the intermediary of XUSD. So the way to think about the Zero Protocol is when the UI is mature, people won't see ZUSD or they won't see any of these other intermediary tokens. They'll receive the stablecoin value that they want. And in the case of Bitcoin-backed Zero, that would include the Bitcoin dollar. And in the case of anything else, any other type of collateral type would only be something like an XUSD. If Fineline is on the line, I don't know if she is. This sounds like the kind of thing which could be clarified much more simply with a graphical representation. Explaining it in words is, as I'm doing it, I feel like I'm just confusing everyone and myself.
Yeah, still trying to wrap my head around it.
Bottom line, they're separate pools. The collateral, the Bitcoin collateral, will never be mixed with other forms of collateral. And if some other pool of collateral has a problem, it's not going to impact the Bitcoin collateral pool.
Yeah, that's great. That's good. Yeah, sorry if that question was a bit unclear before. We were just having some discussions in our newly formed circle, and there is a lot of brainstorming going on, and I was just curious what you're thinking about it. Sure.
Yeah, would be great for the visual learners if we ever get a graphic for this thing. If do we have any final questions, as we still have about 10 minutes left for this call?
Yeah, hey guys, and girls. This is Bobbers. Just, I know you'll do an announcement when the fundraising or whatever you want to call it happens. I was just hoping if you could maybe provide some color of what it's like right now to get that, because everywhere I'm looking and reading, it's a nightmare scenario from investor sentiment. And kind of backtrack here. You wanted some feedback on the new site and how everything's going. I absolutely love it. I think it's unbelievable. I was just curious if you could offer some color of the big investors of what they're thinking or what their concerns are in this stage of the game. Because as you've seen today, the markets are already giving us a little bit of a entertaining day, to say the least, today. So it's just a messy environment. I was wondering if you could offer some color on how that's affecting this process. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, so the strategic investors that we've been talking to, we've been developing relationships with over a long period of time, and they're not the standard profile of sort of crypto hedge fund investors. So, we early on made a decision that we were not going to really focus on that type of investor. That said, of course, there's impact. The most obvious impact is around price. It is anticipated that the price will be sort of a blended average or a time-weighted average of price, and so if price goes up or price goes down, that obviously is going to impact the price at which the round is raised. There's also an additional point, which is that if sentiment gets weak, then there can be knockoff effects. Investors, LPs may want to pull out, or investors could get cold feet. So far, I don't think that this has really impacted us, and I don't expect it is likely to impact us, but there's always that kind of tail risk. So part of the reason why we can't really comment on anything until it's complete is because this isn't, it involves third parties, their decisions, and their, private decisions. So it's not the kind of thing that we're able to comment on until they choose to comment.
No, I totally understand, Yago. I really appreciate it. And I know sometimes it's a tough environment. You guys are fucking awesome. Amazing team, amazing company, and love it. Looking forward to seeing how the next 5 years hold. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, that he will. So thanks everyone for joining our call and being part of our mission to carve out a trail for Bitcoin-secured financial sovereignty, dismantling what people know and understand about money. So help us spread the word and create more sovereign individuals. And follow us on Twitter and Telegram, Sovryn BTC. Subscribe to Sovryn YouTube channel and visit our DApp at sovryn.app. So thanks everyone. I'll hang for a few minutes just in case another question pops up, but this now adjourns the recording. Stay sovereign, everybody.